Hello, in this video we're going to be talking about building your own music studio on a budget. Now I'm going to immediately contradict myself and say some of the products we're going to be talking about aren't the cheapest out there. Why is that? Well, I absolutely hate videos that say build your own music studio for under $100 because they're unrealistic. Half the products they're selling you are absolute trash and rubbish. Everything I'm going to be talking about is quality, will last if you treat it right, and ultimately will do the job it's intended for. So without further ado, let's get into that product lineup. Now we're going to go from priority, what I deem is important, to least important, because you're probably not going to buy all of this at once, one step at a time. As we're going through this video, I'll probably include photos of my setup over the years so you can see how I grew from quite literally an off-the-shelf MacBook Pro to what you see today. So to start with laptops, we're going to skip over this a bit, but an intermediate computer with an i7 and i9 Intel-wise with about 16 gigabytes of RAM is a good starting place. Personally, I started off with an off-the-shelf MacBook Pro with 8 gigabytes of RAM and like 128 gigabytes of storage. Not the best, but it made do when at the time. But if you're interested in how I would optimize a computer for composing music, especially with sample libraries, I've done a whole video on that. Anyway, back onto the product list. My number one product I would buy first, and it's what I bought first, is a pair of headphones. You want to actually hear the music you're creating. This is extremely important because I remember writing a track, absolutely loved it, took it into the studio to show my lecturer, and they put it on the studio speakers, and as soon as he pressed play, I just kind of sat there with my head down because I knew it was completely off. The mix was all over the place, the bass was an absolute disaster, and it was because I couldn't hear what I was writing. And so headphones are extremely important and probably one of the more expensive things on my list. Personally, I would recommend the Audio-Technica M50Xs. I've got my pair sitting right here. You can see they're absolutely worn out because these are the first things I ever bought, probably nearly 7 or 8 years ago now, and I'm still using them to this day. I bought them off of eBay. I think it was about £70-80. I know Amazon's saying £129, but honestly, go on eBay, buy secondhand. I bought secondhand. These are absolutely fine, but you can see you can probably find them for cheaper. Someone else. Do your research. Don't just trust my word for it. Look around, shop around, try and find the best deal for what you're getting. Oh, there's a pretty decent pair there. Anyway, the other pair of headphones I would recommend, I have not personally got a pair of these. I have used them. These Baron Dynamics, I can barely pronounce them, but these are highly recommended, and a lot of people use these. Good pair of headphones if you want to spend the money. One thing I don't like about them, you can see there, they don't have a little jack for you to connect a wire into. I like the fact it's removable because if anything goes, it tends to be that on these headphones. With this, you can replace the wire. It's very durable, while I have heard a lot of people complain about that little joint there with that pair of headphones. Now up next, an audio interface. Now this can be important for several reasons. You don't immediately have to get one of these, but if you want to record audio, I would highly recommend it, and it can help as well if you want to hook some external speakers. Overall, audio interfaces are extremely useful and well worth getting. Focusrite, great starting point, great price point as well, £103 this one is right now, the Scarlett 2i2. We can see that we've got 2 XLR inputs. I would recommend no less than 2, so you can at least get a stereo recording. You see a headphone jack there as well. On the back, I can bet you there's some stereo outs for some speakers. I know it says that there's a 4th gen, but in all honesty, the 2i2 3rd gen is extremely versatile. Personally, I have the Motu M4. There is the M2 version as well. I don't think I've got a image on. Well, I'll put some b-roll so you can see the interface I use. I absolutely love the Motu ones because it has a great display. It also has the ability to internally record my computer as well, which is extremely useful. I love the screen on this, and honestly it has withstood the test of time. Great preamps, great metal versatile knobs. but nothing wrong with Focusrite. They are extremely budget friendly. Personally, I do prefer the Mode 2. Oh, and they're bus powered as well, so USB-C to USB-C into your computer. You don't need an external power for them. Extremely useful and small, as you can see. Now that's audio interface recommendations. Of course, XLR cables, I just get the Stag ones, honestly. With this sort of equipment, you don't need to buy high-end cables. What else? Keyboards. Now this is one of my regrets. This is actually the first keyboard I ever bought, the M Audio Keystation 49. I think it was the Mark II at the time, or the Mark I. And I absolutely loved it because it was small, it sat in front of my keyboard, I didn't have to have a massive desk. Right now I've got, what is it, the Complete Native Instruments S88, and this thing is massive. Do I use it to its full potential? No, I don't. And I actually really regret selling this because I could just play it right there in front of me. It fit really nicely on my desk. And yes, it didn't have weighted keys. It was cheap as chips, a lot of fun. And I see these keyboards all over the place. I think the university I was at literally had a cupboard full of them. They're just great, versatile, and really fun little keyboards. Other recommendations, if you have a very small setup, the Korg Nano Key 2, you can get these again on eBay for probably cheaper. I know it says £41, especially in comparison to $75 for something a bit bigger. But this is tiny. I think I've got one, my little one right here. Absolutely love this thing for traveling. It's great, velocity sensitive, and honestly, the lack of octaves isn't as bad as I thought it would be, especially when I had this. I thought upgrading to a full size would be a huge difference, and wasn't as much as I thought. Another thing I really like from Korg actually is their, which one is it? The control. I've got mine right here. It's dusty and used to high heaven. There's a bit of tape on there to mark what I use on it. I absolutely love this thing for MIDI controls. Tons of faders, and MIDI faders can get very expensive for some reason. And I think I must have spent £30 or £40 on this back in the day, but this is honestly such a great piece of kit for MIDI CC. Just having physical knobs to map to different bits and bobs. I really love it. I know a lot of people have problems with the software. Personally, I don't. I really like it. Very versatile. USB to the old, what is it, micro USB? Yeah, something like that. That's another piece of kit I love. You can see when I bought it back in 2020. Still going. Next, might apply to you, microphones for audio recording. The Behringer B1. I've done a whole video just on this microphone. It's so underrated. It's exactly what I'm using right now. The quality is outstanding. I've used it on so many professional jobs that I've been on, radio and film, and it's just an all-round great, cheap, single diaphragm condenser microphone. Honestly, check out that video if you're looking for a microphone. It comes with a hard case, a shock mount. Honestly, well, you can see when I bought it, 18th of March 2021, I'm still using it, and I'm not going to replace it. I might do some tests with other microphones, but for £79, honestly. And again, you can go on eBay and get this secondhand. There's a pair going for 90 quid right there. 2 days left on this bidding. This will probably go for around 50. But honestly, this microphone, I cannot rave enough about it. But that, I would say, is kind of the essential studio equipment. External storage as well. I talk about that in the computer video I do. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But that, I feel, is quite important, especially when you're buying sample libraries. It builds up SSD. Don't go HDD because it'll be too slow. Now, next thing on this equipment list, and this isn't priority. This is more luxury, and depending on your room you're in, I might even suggest skipping over this step. But speakers. Now, don't go and get the stupid cheap ones. They're just, they're not good. I just don't get why people buy cheap speakers, because they boost the bass on them. And they're just all over the place, and your mix just doesn't become very transferable. Personally, that's my opinion. Probably people would disagree, but I absolutely love a pair of Genelecs. Now, that's not what I'm rocking. I am rocking some Dynaudio BM5 Mark IIIs. I got these on eBay for the pair. I think I paid $450. I was very lucky. Again, do your research, shop around, find a good deal. But these are great speakers. I love them. They're withstanding the test of time. They're a very neutral sound. That's what you need. The Yamahas are a really good budget option. My business partner uses these. They're great all-round speakers, very versatile, very honest Yamaha speakers. But the Gen LX I absolutely love. Amount of studios I walk in that use Gen LX. These are a great alternative and ones I have used in the past and absolutely love. I find the amplifiers in the Gen LX are quieter. The Dynaudio ones are a little bit noisy. They have a slight hiss if you get your head a bit too close to them. The Yamahas, they're just a really good middle ground, in all honesty. Cheapest chips as well when it comes to speakers, and the quality again is there. But that kind of does it for studio equipment. Yeah, you can get synthesizers. That I feel is really down to personal choice. I really like the analog grandmother sort of sound. But with the amount of virtual instruments and sampled synthesizers these days, I'm veering more towards digital than I am physical hardware. I'm trying to think of studio equipment that I've bought over the last couple of years, and in all honesty, I haven't needed to. This keyboard, I kind of regret buying it because I don't use it to the fullest potential, and it just takes up so much space. I got it for a good deal though. But in summary, do your research. Do you really need all these fancy things? In all honesty, I could get by with just a laptop and headphones. It's really nice having all these extra bits and bobs, the extra real estate with my monitor, but I don't necessarily need all of these. All I need is a laptop, a pair of headphones. I'm quite a sucker for my mouse as well, and plenty of storage for all the sample libraries. These things are nice, but again, do your research, look for a good deal, try not to impulse buy. But I hope this video has helped. Let me know down in the comments if there's any other products that you would personally suggest, or any questions that you do have about your own studio setup. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.